a horrible mingy day on your plane.
Yeah.
This is Ian saying good morning, Ian.
What, you want me to say that to them or them to say that to me? Because I can't hear you. Good morning. I'm well, thank you. How are you? Good.
Oh, good. I decided not to go to Nottingham, but I am coming to the station with Ian to see if I can pick up a, say it?
Magazine that's involved. Burda.
Burda.
There's been a Burda.
We are in St Pancras. We have been and secured a Burda, and I am off to put Ian on the train. 10:34 to Nottingham. There you go.
Departing from platform 1 to 4.
I'm here in St Pancras. It is hellishly busy. I've just said goodbye to Ian, and his train, all weather's outside, his train will be off in about 10 minutes, and he said to me don't worry about waiting because it's so awfully crowded up there. So I'm going to go off for the bus home. This is my favourite bit, where it starts getting nice and quiet. Got the champagne bar so the hoi polloi don't come up here. I thought I would sit and have a coffee and get a bit of benefit from my trip out, so I've come to a cafe that's called Me and Me. It's just next to Carluccio's up by the Benjamin Arms by the end, which is close to my bus stop, so we can see the Eurostar coming in and out. I came to get a seat under the heaters because it's nice and snug. Oh, and proof that I am wearing my coat. Coffee with a glass and a stick. What are your feelings about coffee in a glass? Mine are broadly negative. I like my coffee in a mug, and I'm all for the sticks in terms of them not being plastic stirrers, but I would actually prefer a spoon, and instead I've had to stir my coffee with a knife. This is bloody lovely coffee. Would you like a little flick through, Burda? £221 patterns. Not sure about that. Funny dog. Okay, somebody said they liked me talking about the sort of gift sewing things. So here are some wine carrier bottles. Oh, here's how to make a leather bookmark that you can write on with sort of metallic pen. They always give Anne Burda a shout out, don't they? They're obsessed with her. I imagine she's like some elderly matriarch in a wheelchair walking around the Burda office hitting everybody's ankles with a walking cane. Unless she's dead, in which case RIP. So this is to make a little makeup pouch. I just always find that these things are to make things that you don't need, but... Right, here's the first pattern. It is for a teddy bear hoodie for an adult and a waistcoat gilet thing for a little Ben. Sorry, the colour is going mental under these heater lights. And one of these skirts, this looks like a bias cut skirt with one of these I feel like these are Burda trademark weird cut around the waist things, but it's quite a cute skirt if you want to make it in like a satin for a party. Now I have to say, even though this dress is a kid's dress, I totally want to make it for myself, and I've got some perfect material I would make it in. Got all those tiers. It's like a ruffle party. And look, she's wearing it with little sneakers and boot and socks. That looks so cute. Then we've got this pin tuck dress, which I think is really, really lovely. I was just thinking of self-drafting myself a pin tuck dress, and then lo and behold, Burda comes along with one. Can't really see the detail too well. It's not too bad, not as bad as Burda's usual masking of the details with a crazy pattern. But I know it crops up further on again in this magazine, so we get to see it better. Here is a fitted dress. It's very nice. I don't like it quite as much as the one they had last month that had like a fitted waist portion. Then the obligatory joggers that they wheel out. These look like they're dropped crotch ones. This style does nothing for me. It makes me feel like I'm cool when I'm wearing them, but I look an absolute idiot in them. Then we've got a robe, which is really good because I actually want to make Ian's mum a robe for Christmas, and I was going to buy a pattern, but that will do. And we got a kiddie's cardigan, which is one of those kind of draped cardigans. Look at that kid's coat, that is gorgeous. I want a child just so I can make it that coat. Right, here's a line drawing of the coat, and the kid again in the coat looking really unhappy. And mummy wearing a coat made out of the same fabric, sort of almost like biker type collar, but with like a weird kind of closed revere thing at the bottom, placket I suppose. Anyway, I'm not going to carry on telling you about it here because my back is starting to hurt on these chairs. Stood waiting in the rain for a bus that will take me longer than it would take me to walk home. My hair's a nightmare. I need to wash my hair, colour my hair and trim my fringe, which is why it's in my face. Look at these roots. That white. They're only not as white as they could be. Look at that silver, glint of silver. Because I spray red hairspray on the roots to hide the regrowth. But I started going grey when I was about 21, so I've long got over the trauma of going grey. Right, I am going to go and get busy. Oh, I know why I came on. That's not doing much for me, is it? I came on to show you my pinafore, which I made last month and haven't put on the vlog yet. There we go. It has got this square neck, which needs a tuck taken in to stop it gaping. It was a bit of a pig to fit, to be honest, and I did film all the fitting process, but I don't know when I'll get a chance to edit that. I do really like the exaggerated sort of A-line of the skirt. Yeah, I like it. It's got this large band at the waist. Yeah, it's a vintage pattern. Oh yeah, and it's fully lined. Oh no, it's not fully lined, the bodice is lined. I lined it all with this polka dot fabric, which was pretty much exactly the same shade of red, and I thought worked very nicely, even though it is a little bit visible, but that's not too bad, is it? A flash of polka dots in your life. I made it out of this, I made it out of some red, I think it's cotton twill, but it's good weight for it actually. It's nice and sort of sturdy weight without being too stiff. Anyway, I shall be back with you later on. Look at little super cat. Leave me alone, Mummy. I'm home, I've had a little rest, and it's 1 PM, which means I have got about 26 hours until Ian comes home again. So we all know what that means. I have ditched my cutting table because I got to cut out on the single, not on the fold, because I'd done my research. I've learned all about cutting plaids, and I've decided that the best way for me to do it is cutting out on the single, which I hate doing because it means that you run the risk of accidentally cutting the same piece twice if you forget to turn your pattern piece over, which I've done so many times. I've laid out every cutting mat I own, and I've got a couple more to go actually, to give myself the biggest working space possible, because obviously I don't want to be cutting into the floor with my rotary cutter. Apparently you can cut out on the fold if you baste both layers together to prevent shifting, but the difficulty that I've got there is that my plaid, as I mentioned in my last vlog, is unbalanced or uneven, which means that there is no symmetrical line that I can fold it down to get a mirror image on either side. So if it was balanced, I could fold it down the middle or a balance line, and then each piece would be a mirror, because what I've decided is that I've got to cut I have to cut the front and back of the raglan sleeve as mirrors of each other with the checks. The checks are going to be mirrors of each other on the front and back of the raglan, because the first thing I read is, oh, if you're going to do it, you know, raglan sleeves, don't do it with raglan sleeves, they're the worst. Well, so that's no good to me. But thankfully I came across another very helpful article, which was a seam work article, which gave specific instructions for sewing the dahlia dress with a check, which does have a raglan sleeve. And so it tells you exactly how you can get those checks going from straight down here to, obviously the grain line is now going down here, so that's going to be a diagonal check line that you get there. I don't feel like I'm making a lot of sense, but I know what I mean. Right, so I'm going to lay my fabric out and start marking. I won't be cutting for a while yet. Start marking. 50 minutes in and I cut out a front and both fronts. I've managed to match it, and I've matched it so that each side is a mirror meeting at a point in the middle, a dominant line as they call it. Nearly effed that up because I forgot about the button placket being the centre front line, but it seems to have worked okay. So that's the front. I am absolutely kippered. I'm going to have a sit down for a bit. It's 3 o'clock. I have got the fronts and backs cut. I'm running out of fabric, God knows how, because I bought 4 meters of fabric. I did cut one of the backs wrong because I forgot to establish the dominant line down the back. I actually cut it to match the side seam lines, which would have meant that the centre back would have been off. So I had to recut one piece. But I am worried now that I won't have enough to adequately match the raglan sleeves. I mean, I've got loads left, but it is all kind of all about the shop, and you know, I'm having to move pieces left, right and centre. So I'm in absolutely loads of pain. Cutting on the floor is a complete nightmare from my shoulders to the base of my spine. I am absolutely thanking God for my cutting table. In fact, I think now I can probably cut the sleeves on my cutting table so I can move off the floor. But for the moment, I'm going to take some more painkillers and have a nice old rest and get back to it shortly. Good evening, it's 9:15 and I have made progress. I have cut out the 2 back pieces, 2 front pieces, front of the sleeves, and I was about to cut the back pieces, but I got held up because the overlocker unthreaded itself, and I finished up spending an hour trying to fix that, and then I had to have my dinner. So I am going to say goodnight, and I'm going to edit this slot now and hopefully get it up for you tonight, and then tomorrow I'll be able to check in and show you the progress. But for now, here's a photograph of how it's looking. I have managed to match the stripes horizontally and vertically. I am very, very pleased. I'm really hoping that once it's sewn up it will work, because I've tried to measure the seam allowances, and yeah, just keep everything crossed for me with this bloody plaid. Anyway, I hope you've had a nice day today, and I shall speak to you tomorrow. Much love from Camden. Bye.